Good evening, everyone. This is Mitch. Hope you all have had a great Monday. Hopefully, most of y'all had the day off so y'all could relax and chill. I'm sure after a very active 4th of July weekend, we're going to continue to break down Tropical Storm Elsa and really go through everything we know. How is she done today? Run through all the models, talk about how Florida is going to be impacted, and really start to look at Georgia and the Carolinas and how they can be impacted. And how the big topic of this video is, how is this storm going to handle the eastern Gulf of Mexico, and what is the environment in the eastern Gulf of Mexico? There's a lot that I feel like that we're learning with Elsa. Even some of the most intelligent people when it comes to weather. This is a confusing storm for a lot of people, including me. So we're all trying to figure out what Elsa's going to do, especially when she gets in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Models like the Euro want this thing to become a hurricane within the next 24 hours. And some of the other models, maybe just a strong tropical storm. But we're going to go through everything, because you guys in Florida, especially the peninsula to the Big Bend area of Florida, need to pay attention to the storm as it begins to really affect y'all over the next 24 hours here. Before we get deep into this video, guys, if you have not subscribed, definitely consider hitting the subscribe video. For a lot of people who've been subscribed for a long time, it's been a fun ride. I hit 5,000 subscribers this morning. My year goal is to hit 10K by the end of the year. But thank y'all for the amazing support. Y'all give me an opportunity to talk about something that I love, which is the weather. I know not everybody's going to always agree with what I talk about, but I try to stay away from hyping things and putting these crazy fear tactics as far as these thumbnails, and I try to stay away from that. But I just talk about what I think is going to happen, what the experts going to think is going to happen. We just like to break down everything. So thank y'all for the amazing support over the last several months. For real, it's been a ride. So here we go. This is what's going on right now. The center is actually right into here. This storm continues to struggle on the western side of the storm from a little bit of dry air and shear, and it's on land, so there's not going to be really any strengthening. But I tell you what, you look at this right here, and this storm does not look bad on the satellite right now. It really doesn't. It looks like it looks like you got two main areas of the storm, though, so it's still disorganized. But I will tell you, there's something called frictional convergence, which allows some tropical systems to maintain over land and sometimes even strengthen and really begin to tighten their circulation. You also have a few outflows firing up convection, or even on the western side, but that's still its weaker side, that's for sure. It's about to enter an atmosphere with some drier air up here and some shear. Those are going to be some preventing factors from this thing to really exploding in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. But there is some promoting factors that might allow it to strengthen. So we're going to talk about that also. We can take a look at the radar scope right now. This is on U.S. radar now. This is the Key West radar. Check out the motion of it circulating. The crazy thing about this is you have some higher terrain in Cuba right in this area and some higher terrain back here. It's actually going over a terrain in Cuba that's actually not that mountainous. It's lower elevation. Those higher mountaintops really hurt tropical systems. They don't like that at all. So it's actually going over a much flatter area. But a little bit of frictional convergence is allowing this system to kind of maintain a nice little chord. You can see the center of circulation right in here. But these outer bands are already starting to affect South Florida and obviously the Florida Keys and things like that. A big area of rain has already band has already pushed all the way up into north of Miami and places like that. So it's already impacting South Florida right now. So nothing crazy, but it is impacting them for sure. Latest update 5 p.m. I will mention by the time some of you watch this video, there will be an 8 p.m. update, even an 11 p.m. update. But as the 5 p.m. update, the 8 p.m. update will probably come out in probably the next 10 or 15 minutes from the time I'm making this video. But I really don't think that the winds are going to go down. And if anything, they might go up 5 miles per hour. But I think they're going to stay around a 50 mile per hour storm as this continues to work its way off Cuba. Tropical storm warnings for the entire western coast of Florida. So keep in mind, if you're on the western coast of Florida, that includes Tampa Bay, the Big Bend area, Cedar Keys right here, which is a a big favored area that people are talking about where this might make landfall here in the Big Bend of, of Florida. You even got tropical storm watches pretty far out on the peninsula here, not the peninsula, the panhandle of Florida. So you got to watch out. It's leaving the door open that it potentially can tick a little bit further west, but by 2 p.m., this is lashing the western coast of Florida. 2 a.m., it continues to move slow. It's starting to flirt with landfall in between 2 a.m. to 2 p.m. Wednesday. So I would say in the morning time, it's probably going to make a landfall in the Big Bend of Florida and then weaken into depression according to the National Hurricane Center. But there's still a lot of guidance showing that this is going to maintain a tropical storm potentially even into Georgia, into the Carolinas. A lot of guidance is showing that. So as far as the intensity models, look at this little brief spike on this intensity guidance right here. That is pinpointing, basically it's trying to show an opportunity where this could strengthen in the next 24 to 36 hours before making landfall and most likely Florida. As far as the path, all of them are zoned into the Big Bend of Florida as far as landfall in the U.S. They all like that area. I don't think it's going to wiggle much. And I tell you what, it's pretty clustered up even as you get into Georgia and the Carolinas. It's liking the cruise on through southeast Georgia and then maybe the coastal areas of South Carolina, and then North Carolina. But even in the Carolinas, it's going to be pretty far inland, the center of it. So you got to watch out. Columbia, Charlotte, Fayetteville, up to Raleigh. This could bring some heavy rain. We're going to talk about the impacts here. I do want to go back and look at this really quick. This is from the professionals. So this is as far as rainfall right now over the next, this is, I believe, over the next 1 to 5 days. So if you're in the dark green areas, that's 2 to 4 inches of rain. Places like Tampa Bay and places like that, 4 to 6 inches of rain. In the light green areas, which I would believe would include Columbia, maybe 1 to 2 inches of rain. But this could change a lot. I really could. Flash flood potential is pretty high. Obviously, in the western coast of Florida, 20% a moderate risk of flash flooding occurring, then 25 miles of any given location in the next 3 days. And then the slight risk, it's all the way up into South Carolina, Georgia, places like that. As far as the storm surge, 3 to 5 foot is possible right here into the Big Bend. So this is where the highest storm surge will be, obviously where the landfall is, and the storm is going to push into this area. So let's try to step away from that here. This is around where the center of the storm is. I imagine it's actually a little bit further north. It's probably more so over here now. But the center of the storm is over land. So let's start running through the models and what they show. Let's look at the latest GFS. The latest GFS gets this thing going. This is Tuesday morning. The eastern side of the storm's really starting to hit, especially western sides of the Florida Keys, pretty hard with probably tropical storm conditions. Then, as we get into Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, this thing off the southwest coast of Florida really has a chance to strengthen into a stronger tropical storm. I really think this is going to potentially happen. At the same time, it's going to be affected by dry air and shear. And I'll show you that in a second. But as we're getting going here, it maintains tropical storm status. It might start to weaken a little bit of dry air and shear affecting it. There's also an upper trough digging right here that's going to help to kind of pick this thing up and start scooting it southeast. Also, there's also a flow around this ridge of high pressure out here that's steering this too. So it's kind of squeezing between two different weather things right now, if you will. An upper trough and a ridge of high pressure, and that might actually cause something called jet interaction, if you will, or just basically strengthening over land. Models were really showing that a lot more yesterday, not so much now, but it doesn't necessarily strengthen them. It kind of helps to maintain tropical systems over land. But it gets going here. We get into overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning. This is when it's going to begin to affect places like South Carolina to the Carolinas, and then it scoots on out of here. As far as the latest Euro, now there is an 18Z Euro that I really tried hard to wait until it ran for you guys, but I would have been making this video at 8:30, 9 o'clock if I waited. But here's the 12Z Euro. This is the one that had the weather world kind of like on a standstill a little bit this afternoon. It really strengthens this thing big time into a strong tropical storm and then into a hurricane by tomorrow afternoon. just southwest of Tampa Bay. But just like the GFS, it has it weakening again. I think it begins to gets affected by dry air and shear. And here it is. It's starting to strengthen again as it's entering the Big Bend area. And then it's just kind of wobbling back and forth, strength deepening, and then the pressure rising. So it's getting weaker, then it's getting stronger, then it's getting weaker. And then by about really early, potentially Wednesday afternoon or late morning Wednesday, it makes landfall in the Big Bend as if you're looking at the European model, as a Category 1 hurricane, strong tropical storm. Then it gets going here, and really it's pretty far inland into the southwest Georgia, and maintains tropical storm force conditions into the eastern areas of South Carolina and North Carolina. If the Euro happens, which a lot of people are not giving a lot of credit because its track record with Elsa so far, that would be the most impactful scenario possible, I think. But here we go. I want to show you this. This is basically relative humidity. It basically shows you where the moist areas and the dry areas. Here we go. It's showing you the eastern side of the storm is the most moist side, meaning that is basically your most active side where you're going to get the chances for the most activity, the strongest winds, the heaviest rain, highest storm surge. Meanwhile, you have some shear and some dry air trying to sneak up, well, definitely affecting the southwest part of the storm. What that is going to do is it's going to try to expose the low-level circulation. If it does that, then it's going to affect the rest of the storm. It's just going to shear away basically the entire western to southwest part of the storm. It really is. And this will be a front-loaded storm and a east-loaded storm. I pretty much have very high confidence in that. Here's a little bit, taking a look at the streamlines, showing you the shear on top of the storm. Doesn't do the best job showing that, but obviously you have this area right here, this upper trough, pushing this storm and affecting it too. As far as sea surface temperatures, that is the promoting factor for this developing. And honestly, the Eastern Gulf isn't as warm as it could be, but it's not cool by no means either. Got temperatures in the 80 sea surface temperatures are supportive of tropical development, that's for sure, as it gets into the Eastern Gulf of Mexico. So that is a promoting factor. Now, looking at the satellite here, this is the water vapor. You see Elsa right here. Notice this darker kind of shade right here that's not as gray as right here. That is dry air. That's your shear and that's your dry air right here. This is going to affect the eastern end of the storm at first, and then as it moves up here, it's going to affect, not the eastern, it's going to affect the northern part of the storm at first, and then as it moves off southwest Florida, it's probably going to begin to affect the southwest part of the storm. Tropical weather doesn't like dry weather, and vice versa. You look at the latest HWRF model, and this is the latest one. It gets off of Cuba, begins to strengthen again. Look at that 994 drop in pressure here off southwest coast of Florida. It's strengthening still. And just like the GFS, just like the Euro, it has it at its strongest just southwest of Tampa Bay. But look at the southwest part of the storm. It's just non-existent. There's just nothing there, and it's because it's getting sheared away. All the activity, even with this being a 990 low storm, is on the east side, but it doesn't look even healthy on this at all. But unfortunately, that's not good, really necessarily good news, because all the land mass is on the worst part of the storm, if you know what I'm saying. But it's still a strong tropical storm. I expect Tampa Bay to get some nasty weather overnight tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. And then this has an opportunity to strengthen again as it gets into the Big Bend area and really begins to affect anybody located there. I don't know much about that area. I know it's not, from what I hear, and by the way, I haven't mentioned this in really any of my videos, but I might be chasing this thing and leaving out as early as tomorrow afternoon to head towards this area of Florida. So stay tuned for that for sure. But this has it making landfall as a pretty strong tropical storm, maybe a low-end hurricane in the Big Bend of Florida, thing working its way into southeast Georgia, into the Carolinas. It's been maintaining tropical storm status. So it's something we have to watch. The latest HRRR model gives us a good view on what this potentially can look like. And it does a good idea showing the southwest part of the storm being just dismantled. It's just like an exposed low pressure. But the HRRR model does not have this thing looking good at all. It doesn't really have it looking great at all. There is a severe weather aspect of this, like there is on all eastern quadrants of tropical systems. That's why there is a slight risk for a huge area of the Florida Peninsula tomorrow. And mainly it's because of a tornado threat. There's a 5% chance, I can almost guarantee you, someone is going to see a quick spin up somewhere in central Florida tomorrow. So please be weather aware if you're in Florida. There is a tornado threat tomorrow because you're going to get lashed by the dirty side of the storm. So keep that, take that serious for sure. Don't forget about the tornado threat with these tropical systems because it is significant, really, with any tropical system, even like a tropical depression. You saw what Claudette did a few weeks ago, killing, I believe, 6, 7 people in Alabama. I think it was like 12 people. So it can happen. Here's updraft velocities. Shows you where potential spinning updrafts can be. So basically it shows you where the potential for tornado circulation could be. And you notice it has areas in central Florida. So we need to watch out because basically the entire Florida Peninsula is going to get lashed tomorrow by the nasty side of the storm. So y'all be weather aware tomorrow and stay safe. And I'm praying for all of you guys and just hunker down if you guys have to work. I know you guys in Florida are built a little bit different, so I'm sure they're not going to, I don't know if they're going to shut down work for a tropical storm. I don't know how you guys do it down there. But here it is, spinning away. It's heading northwest. It's going to really start to affect Florida overnight hours tonight until tomorrow morning. So y'all stay safe. I'm going to try to fit in a morning update tomorrow morning, and then I might be off to Florida tomorrow afternoon. So thank y'all for everything. Y'all have a blessed and safe night.